Okay, welcome back. Cat Stanley Space Demon coming at you again. This is part 2. Kiss songs from the makeup era that were inspired by other songs. I've got 7 more songs for you. And we're going to start, we'll go back to the beginning again. The first Kiss album, the song called Nothin to Lose. Gene Simmons said the song came to him after hearing the line in 2 different songs. He said one was a Little Richard song. He said he saw Little Richard singing it before I had a baby. And then he said there was another song called Sea Cruise, which had the line, you got nothing to lose. Won't you let me take you on a sea cruise? So that's where Gene Simmons got the inspiration for the song Nothing to Lose, which Gene says is about quote-unquote anal love. Okay, so the next one, song called Got to Choose off the Kiss Hotter Than Hell album. Song written by Paul Stanley, and I love Got to Choose. It's one of my favorite Kiss songs, and Paul Stanley agrees. It's one of his favorites as well. He said Wilson Pickett did a song called 99 and a Half Won't Do, and he said there was a band called Boomerang, which featured some of the guys from Vanilla Fudge, and they did a version of 99 and a Half Won't Do, and he said he's pretty sure he used the same riff from that 99 and a Half Won't Do in the song Got to Choose. I dig it. Yeah, it was also on Kiss Alive 1, one of my faves. Okay, so the next one, song called Goin Blind, another one off that Hotter Than Hell album. Gene Simmons said the song dates back to 1970. At that point, he was listening to a lot of Cream and Mountain. He said Goin Blind happens to be one of his favorite songs. Even something about the recording of it seemed to work for me. The compression on the drums. I guess it wasn't so much inspired by any particular song, just inspired by the group Mountain, Leslie West. Okay, so the next one, also from Hotter Than Hell, song called All the Way. He said, now Gene Simmons says he actually ripped the lick off from a group that Mitch Ryder had called Detroit. They had one song out that sounded very much like Mountain. Now I'm pretty sure I know which song he's talking about. Mitch Ryder had a group called Detroit. They released one album, and the big hit off of that song, at least it got a lot of local airplay around here in Detroit, a song called Rock and Roll. It was a cover of an old Lou Reed song, and I'm pretty sure that's the song he's talking about, the lick that he ripped off for All the Way, because that was a song Steve Hunter played the guitar solo on it, and if you listen to that guitar solo, sounds a hell of a lot like Leslie West. Great song, by the way, if you want to check it out. Song called Rock and Roll by a group called Detroit. In fact, I believe when Lou Reed heard Detroit's version of the song Rock and Roll and realized that guitarist Steve Hunter had arranged the song, he decided he was going to steal Steve Hunter for his band. But anyways, the next song on our list is another song from Hotter Than Hell, Watchin You. Now, Gene Simmons says that song was kind of a rip-off of Mississippi Queen from Mountain. He said he wrote the song in the Wicked Lester days. Now, you know, if there are any guitarists out there, if you ever tried to learn the song Watchin You, you know, to me that opening riff is the Immigrant Song from Led Zeppelin, man. Listen to that riff, not the opening riff, the riff that comes in when the vocals kick in. Lippin' as you do. It's just like the Immigrant Song from Led Zeppelin. That's what I hear. Not so much as much Mississippi Queen, but to me that song's the Immigrant Song. But Gene says he was inspired by Mississippi Queen from Mountain. Okay, the next song off of the Dress to Kill album, song called Lover All I Can. Paul Stanley says that Lover All I Can was also a Wicked Lester song. He said they were short of songs when they were recording Dress to Kill. He said it was inspired by The Who and a group called The Nazz, which was Todd Rundgren's first band. The Nazz had a song called Open My Eyes, which ripped off the intro from Can't Explain by The Who. That bum, ba-da, ba-da-na. Rundgren used that in his song Open My Eyes from Can't Explain, and Paul says he copped that for the song Lover All I Can off of Dressed to Kill. Okay, so the next song is going to be a song from Love Gun. It's the song Tomorrow and Tonight. One of my favorite Kiss songs. I think this is a pretty divisive song among Kiss fans. Paul Stanley said he's not a particular fan of it. He felt like it was kind of a second-rate version of Rock and Roll All Night, and he didn't feel like he was trying to write Rock and Roll All Night again. And when you try to do that, you can't make something great if you've already written it. You can't do it a second time. But it's one of my favorites, and Paul Stanley said that that song was inspired by an old Mott the Hoople song called The Golden Age of Rock and Roll. And if you go and listen back to the old Mott the Hoople song, it's an okay song. I mean, you can definitely hear where Paul was coming from with his version, Tomorrow and Tonight. You can definitely hear he was inspired by the old Mott the Hoople song. But frankly, I think Tomorrow and Tonight blows that Mott the Hoople song out of the water, man. I think Paul got it right this time. Not so much when he tried to, when he was inspired by the Deep Purple song Burn for the song I Stole Your Love, where I feel like he missed the mark. On Tomorrow and Tonight, man, I think he hit it out of the park, man, as far as being inspired by that Mott the Hoople song. I think Paul's song blows that one out of the water. But that's it, part 2. 7 more songs, Kiss songs that were inspired by other songs. And if you missed part 1, which I did, 10 songs from Kiss's makeup era that were inspired by other songs, I'm going to post a link to that video in the description. So if you dug this one and you happen to miss that one, you can check out the earlier one that I made, and hopefully you'll dig that one too, man. But again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Who's here?